Yes, yes, yes! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of It's Not That Deep, Bro. And we're back, episode 28.
That gets me every single time.
That's right. That's right.
You've got it down now. Like, you just press a button in your head and you just start reeling it off, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's become a
Don't you forget it, bro.
It's become a real part of your character.
It's every episode from now on.
And this is episode 28.
This is episode 28. We're hitting the Randy Master
4,000.
4,000.
Martin, will you do the honors?
No, I'll let you do it, bro.
Okay.
I'll let you do it.
Well, give me a countdown then at least.
Before that, to everyone that's listening, we have a new bit of tech.
Oh, yeah, for the new listeners
That's right.
aren't aware of the Randy Master Apple script that we use to randomly select our film from a curated selection that I have put together.
Yep. You ready?
And Martin's going to give me a
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the film that we are watching this week on It's Not That Deep, Bro, is Tampopo from 1985. Let's get a quick director check.
Go on, hit it.
Are you ready for Tampopo, Martin?
No.
It's
But
coming to you.
it's coming to a theater.
A theatre.
Theater near you.
So, the internet's being slow right now. We will report back on the director.
Let me get it up, bro.
Oh, Martin's on it.
Right. How'd you spell it?
Tampopo.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you. The director is Juzo Itami.
Juzo Itami.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So, strap in and saddle up for a exciting journey with Tampopo, and we'll see you on the other side.
Get yourself an easy chair, something to drink, and a copy of Tampopo.
You've taken my line.
Well, you didn't say it.
That's what yeah, but it should be my decision when I say it. You know, I was saving it I didn't want it to become worn out.
It's happening now. Every time you don't say it,
I'm wearing it
I
out,
will.
bro. Anyway, yeah, let's get on with it. Tampopo.
It's not that deep, bro. It's not that Oh, it's piping hot in this motherfucker right now. Oh, yes. We've just finished watching Tampopo.
Pipe down, Sydney.
1985 by Juzo.
Go on.
I'm forgetting his last name.
Pipe down, Sydney. I've got the clam pots. What did you think of that?
Wow. It was a great film.
You thought?
Yeah, I thought it was a great film.
Good, man. I'm glad.
Okay. First off, what the fuck is going on with, like, there's about 3 to 4 different plot points.
Well, okay, wait.
All fucking happening at the same.
Yeah.
This shit is crazy, man. It's crazy, okay? I've never seen a film so fucking crazy.
That's a big statement, Martin.
Look. Holy Mountain was like
big statement.
Shit. But this is like, what the fuck?
Well, my take on what it was trying to do was that it was using all the weapons a filmmaker has as at their disposal. It was like a classic cowboy western film at heart. Like that was the like it relied on lots of different tropes that have been predominant throughout Hollywood and filmmaking. It was very American at times, like in the techniques that were being used, like the whole cowboy, like Goro turning up. He's always got there were lots of different triggers to tell you what this film was trying to do, and Goro is mysterious. He turns up. He's always got a cigarette on. He wears his cowboy hat in the bath. He's a ludicrous. He's a ludicrous.
That got me. As soon as that happened, I'm like, he's wearing a hat in a bath. What gets me the most is that he takes it off to wash his hair, then puts a hat back on like it's not wet.
Because he's a badass, man.
What the fuck, bro?
He's a cowboy.
I'm telling you, this film had me like on some next level. Like the basis of the whole film.
You've got this story about Goro trying to help out Tampopo because she has a dream and she's just a little unconfident to step out of her shell and kind of embrace it. And Goro really facilitates her stepping into her own special ability, her ladder, as she called it.
Before we get into it, one question is on my mind.
Hit me.
Did they forget to do the original job?
What original job?
To deliver that tanker that they had.
It was that at the beginning it says, I want to get this done and then get something to eat, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's like, oh, your damn book is making me hungry. We have to stop. So they stop before they finish the job.
So that even adds more to the mystique of Goro and this Wild West character. So you've got that on paper just there is quite a simple story. You know, these two guys that stop and help out a lady, set up
for months, not like
a noodle. Well, it's
not like a couple of days. Nah, months.
It's fantastical in its storytelling, but it's a story with a beginning, middle, and end on paper. But what's like incredible, what I thought was incredible about this film is that, as you say, it weaves in. Well, it kind of takes walks at points.
Oh, walks, mate. These aren't walks. These are runs, bro. Like it's completely going nowhere.
Something
like,
will
what?
be. Well, it all just tie in because I think really the main character of this film was food, and I may even take that another step further and say that the human senses were the real character of this film, if that makes sense.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
So, as I was saying a second ago, this film takes walks from the normal narrative. That you have this thing that's going on with Tampopo and her noodle business, but at several points during the film, the camera literally just drifts away from that narrative and attaches itself to a pedestrian, a bystander, some other action that's happening in the background of the scene. And I love the way that they go
the way
from
it transitions.
It's
wonderful, crazy.
Wonderful stuff. But what is shown in these scenes can or could be construed as... Well, it's a very fitting film for this podcast because they could be construed as weird for the sake of being weird. Like, what is the point in this distraction from Tampopo and her noodle aspirations?
Empire.
Yeah, aspiring empire. And that is where my statement about food and the senses being the main character come in, because this film is really showing many different approaches. How a human being approaches a meal can tell you a lot about what their approach to life is.
You think so?
Yeah, because you see several different individuals consuming food. That is basically what these distractions are.
And you can, well, you even like when them guys were helping her and they're like, oh, this is not good. Each one had their own way of eating the noodles.
Yeah. So it's a very personal thing, eating food. To eat food with people is it's a bonding experience for the people that you eat the food with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're just having a takeaway, that's like a very diluted version of it. But if you're all sat around a table and it's a proper meal, you have a connection with the people that you eat with.
Of course, yeah.
And that's why like business meetings are conducted at restaurants and stuff like that, because it's like a grounding, a central thing that all these different individuals can contribute to. So
every single scene that was out of Tampopo's range,
out of the narrative.
Out of the narrative. What was the point? Honestly.
So this is what I'm explaining. That to
some
like,
of them
they're showing you different walks of life and their approaches to food and how that affects their life. You've got the bold, elderly gentleman who, whilst he isn't in a rush physically at this point in his life, the way that he approaches his meal suggests that he is in quite a desperate mindset. You know what I mean? He was very quick to eat the food, the one who chokes on the pork.
Yeah.
So, yes, he's slow to walk in the restaurant, but what does that suggest? Maybe he's led a life that's too fast, and now he's had something happen to him physically where he's slower, and that's mirrored in the way that he eats his food. Still too quick, and he chokes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that takes a while to happen. You know, you see Tampopo's party and Goro, they're peeking around the curtain, looking at him like, okay, he's eating very loudly.
Yeah.
And with little care or respect. So there's that scene at the beginning, and I couldn't even tell you what the continuity, who was that master at the beginning that was explaining how to eat noodles properly? What relation did he have to anyone?
Nothing.
So who was the dude sat next to him? That wasn't Goro.
Who?
There was
No.
Who was the younger kid?
So this is what's like felt really interesting to me, because like at the start, it's that guy talking to us watching the film, and he's like,
in the movie, yeah.
In the movie, he's like, oh, so you're watching a film too?
You're watching a film, are you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then he just goes into the film. It's like he's watching a film, then in the film, a story is being
It's like
given. It's like Inception.
It's fucking Inland Empire, man.
Bro, like,
Inland Empire. David Lynch does something very similar with the concept of film and like narrative, because I was trying to think, is this film a linear film?
So what's happening is the reason that old guy and younger guy teaching that older gentleman is teaching the younger guy about noodles is because he's reading it from a book. So
he's reading it
in a book.
Yeah, he's reading it to his kid before they go to sleep.
No. Gun is reading it to Goro
in the lorry of the tanker that they're pulling.
At the start. So
okay.
he's like, your fucking story is making me more hungry, which is the whole film we're watching at the moment. It just makes you so fucking hungry.
That's quite good what you just said there, Martin, that they're reading a story, and it is that story that makes them hungry, that triggers them to meet Tampopo.
Yeah.
So that kind of like tells you what the movie's about right there. Like, it's about food and the respect, the soul that's meant to be in it. You
can see in one of the scenes where he's like, oh, that's not good. And he's like, what do you mean? Yeah, the water's not boiling. So
yeah, and that's a great message. He says that to Tampopo. He says, look, he's drinking the soup. That's bad. And she's like, why is that bad? We shouldn't be able to drink the soup. It should be boiling. Yeah. So, and with the master at the beginning explaining all the little, you've got this eager young go-getter that just wants to rip into it, which I can empathize with. You know, I think that kind of attitude is prevalent in our culture a lot. Fast food culture, there's not much kind of respect around consuming your meals. So this man is explaining, look at the little jewels of fat that have accumulated on top of the water. Look at the way that the pork, like the fat runs through the pork. Look at the way that the spring onions have been cut and torn, and just respect every single element of the dish and what it is.
I like how he's like, apologize to the pork.
Yeah, apologize to the pork and think about that. That's a very...
And they'll be like, I'll be there soon.
Eastern way of considering your animal products. There's a greater respect surrounding the whole thing. And respect is just a large theme throughout the film. You've got that... It reminds... Another one of these weird little walk-off scenes is a selection of businessmen, and one of them has a younger protege that is...
I think it's his son.
It could be a son, could be an apprentice, or just like a younger protege was just the word that I went with, because he's carrying all the books and he's kind of following behind all the businessmen as they file into this room to eat dinner, and he like drops all the books as they walk in. But as the waiter goes around the table, all the businessmen make terribly informed choices.
They all make the same choice.
Do they all make exactly the same choice with the beer? See, I didn't pick up on that. A beer,
soul, and whether it's salad or noodles, and
none of them wanted the salad with it either.
No,
did they?
no salad.
And then the youngling goes and has a vast knowledge of the entire menu and manages to pick some dishes that are paired perfectly with a very well chosen champagne. And that, again, it's a matter of how those older men have lost respect for the process. That was showing.
They just want food for nourishment.
Yeah, now as quick as it. Well, it's an addition to their business meeting, because you can see that this young boy gets quite the harsh treatment, possibly.
Yeah.
Because in respect's something that's huge in Eastern Japanese Chinese culture anyway. There's a hell of a lot more respect just in their everyday to day life, compared to the West. There's a lot of I suppose discipline is focused on a lot more, and that, I don't know, perceptions of the East are kind of difficult to gauge accurately from. I've never been, any more east than bloody Austria. So it's like...
Do you know the reason why they use chopsticks? Like,
I actually don't.
Neither do I.
Bet it has something to do with respect. Cutting up and stabbing and all of that. That it doesn't sound like they're down with that sort of thing. Chopsticks is a lot more.
Do you think that's why they eat a lot more noodles? Because obviously rice is quite a lot, like...
When they cook rice, you could see it. And you made this point a second ago. This film will make you hungry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Straight up.
Very hungry. Just everything about it, I'm like, I want noodles.
I don't even... I
want the fucking...
I'm not the biggest
sake.
fan of, noodles and... I know, another thing we learned from this film is that ramen literally means noodles. So over here, we are calling noodles. Ramen noodles.
We're calling ramen noodles, but in translation, it's just noodles.
They must think we're idiots. That's like the stupidest thing.
Look, we probably are, to be honest.
But yeah,
They've got way more respect for food than we have.
I'm not the biggest fan, or I just haven't had the opportunity to try much good ramen, to be perfectly honest with you. And this film made me want to dive into that world. Those little dumplings. When he took... I love the little pots everything comes in. They'll put all these pots down, you take the lids off. They look like little temples, the pots do. It's
just... going to, eating at Yo Sushi, I miss it. It's so good.
And sitting down at those low tables, having the food at that level... Again, it would be like a whole different thing. You'd be looking at it more. The whole... I actually really rate the whole attitude towards food. And, I mean, this film is packed full of... And this film wasn't afraid to pull any punches, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It got weird.
It did get weird.
And I like that in a film because the story at heart was like a real heartwarming Hollywood tale. You know what I mean? It was fairy tale with Goro and Tampopo. Their whole tale was very whimsical, whereas then you've got this scene where it is literally two lovers trading an egg yolk from mouth to mouth.
Just, oh my God. That guy, but to be honest, he had sort of like a food fetish.
Well, there is a previous scene of them before doing, I guess you'd call it more traditional food fetish acts, like whipped creams involved.
Yeah.
That you've seen that like in a TV show or something like that where a food fetish is brought up. But the egg yolk scene was particularly, that could have been like, we never aired the short film episode, but that could be like some Stan Brakhage, Water Baby.
Yeah.
It was on that level of abstract, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness.
We'll have to go back to Mr. Brakhage and his
I can't, bro. I can't do that. I cannot. Seeing it once was bad enough. Come on.
You might have to see that in real life one day.
What?
You might have to see that in real life one day.
No, look. It's not going to be the same way that the video was made. It's going to be all one go. Like, it's not going to be like, you know what?
Window, water, baby, rising.
Rising?
It's
Baby moving.
Or was it moving, not rising?
Yeah.
Window, water, baby, moving by Stan Brakhage. Everybody go check that short film out.
Look. Okay. If you want to see...
No, don't ruin it for them.
No, listen. If you want to see something that may or may not be in your near future, then please go watch it. If not, just don't dip your toes in that pond.
Obviously, our viewing of it left Martin with some deep-rooted issues. But this film, like...
Rooted issues seems very harsh. There was no rooted issues.
I am being facetious, Martin.
Okay.
You should never over... respond to my facetiousness, don't worry.
It's fair. I'm just saying, like, it's strange.
So this film, like, can get as weird as Mr. Brackage's work, and I like the juxtaposition between the very normal narrative of Tampopo's noodle store mixed with these abstract scenes that comment on the whole process that Tampopo's going through and what it's like over-exaggerations of mental lessons that she would have to learn in learning how to be the best noodle cook. You know?
Do you think them scenes with the whole, like, the old lady scene? How?
Oh, hang on, old lady, where are we?
Probably halfway through the film. Old lady, no, 3/4.
What's going on with the old lady?
She's just touching food.
Oh yeah, the old lady. So we got her. She is fascinated. So the first thing, this is again another one of the abstract scenes, and it's a lady in a supermarket, and again it's over exaggerated like all of these abstract scenes. But if you go in abstract, you've kind of got to over exaggerate to make a point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So the first thing she picks up is a peach.
Is that a peach?
Nectarine, peach, whatever you want to call it. Soft fruit.
Yeah.
Let's just say that to pacify any naysayers.
Juice.
And what she's doing is she's checking it for quality. And she's squeezing it. But she's quite old, you can see. She's a little bit batty, and she's over-checking. She's too worried that everything's not going to be of a high quality.
Yeah.
So she's just crushing everything, basically. And the owner of the shop then sees her doing this, and there's a comedic kind of almost Scooby-Doo, Benny Hill-esque kind of montage of them running around the shop. She's grabbing things, and just as he runs around the corner, she slips away. It's very cheeky, very innocent. which I love how you can go from food fetish, egg mouth swapping to a scene as innocent as that. Even the music was like,
like the but them scene that scene is just one of like probably 4 other scenes that don't really have anything to do with like the main plot. In a way of like, it doesn't benefit the plot, but like the showing the audience
so
the overprotective, the over like.
So if Tampopo
Old woman
could not end up like that woman if she wanted to achieve her dreams, because you can't worry. That was a big part of Tampopo. Something she had to get over was the fact that she worried so much about what others thought about her noodles.
Yeah.
And you have to have there was a really good bit that showed this actually, where she was cutting bones and she was using like a knife and she was trying to like slice through them like you would with a saw.
I think she was just trying to like put a
score.
Yeah, like a scratch in it.
Well,
so then it's easier to cut it. So it's because I think if you cut it just
you might
as
chip.
it is,
Chips might fly. Yeah. Well, that is a good point. But the way I took that scene was that she was getting more confident in her abilities. You know, and
I could see that. Yeah.
I think that all those I'll call them allegorical scenes. Allegory is just when you tell a story that has a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Slow and steady wins the race. Hare and the tortoise. That's like an allegorical story. But I love allegory. You know, that is what anything that tells us a story that has a moral. That's why like we started doing the podcast, because I was like, some stories have reasons to them, and that they're allegories, I suppose. But all those abstract scenes, you can come out of them with one sentence that Tampopo has to learn, basically, and go through mentally.
Okay. What about the dentist scene?
I just need to think about the setup. Everyone you bring up, it's like, hang on, where are we in the film and what's going on? Because they're so random. So I remember.
Yeah, exactly. They're all random. It's like, obviously, some of them just like, as they're doing shit, just transitions into like so easy.
So it's a guy and he's eating, isn't he? When the tooth starts to hurt. Yeah, he's on a train and a woman comes up to him with some food.
Yeah. He starts eating. All of a sudden, real bad pain. Needs to go to the dentist straight away.
And in his mouth was an abscess that made all the people in the room recoil apart from him.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of that story would be... Yeah, I've not fully worked them all out, but I realised as the film was happening that this is what was happening. But it's like when you're in that noodle bar, when Tampopo was in the train station noodle bar learning to remember what everyone ordered.
Yeah.
It's like that with the scenes, trying to remember what all the... It's a really fucking good film because it's layered. It's like worth a second viewing just to go back and... go through these abstract scenes. But the fact that he had something in his mouth that smelt that bad, but he didn't realise it.
But they didn't realise it till they drilled.
But there is something to... That is where I go with that one, but I'd need to...
have a second viewing.
Yeah, or I know this will be one of those films that I will, when I leave here... be doing the rounds on, because it's fascinated my interest. I'll be on the Reddit and the Letterboxd, and because it showed a very high level of awareness of cinema and visual storytelling. It was really fantastic. The one that stuck with me the most was the mum.
Oh my goodness!
This guy comes running past.
Oh my! That happens as,
they're outside for some reason, aren't they?
No.
Well, they are.
Uh,
Because he runs outside past them in the dark.
it goes. It's so weird because it happens. You know that scene with the old woman, yeah? She's at the shop.
Yeah.
The owner of that
Supermarket.
goes to a restaurant. He looks at a guy. Right?
Yeah. So he looks at this guy that's involved in this thing that he's pretending to be a professor, and he's
famous professor.
He's about to get kidnapped by another guy. The guy that he's eating dinner with is about to kidnap him
so he can
give
him a
load of money.
Yeah.
Then this guy, he's not actually a professor, he's pretending to be a professor,
Yeah.
robs the guy that's about to kidnap him, but as he robs the guy, he's arrested.
The scenes, bro, are mental. So then what happens then is
they go outside and he runs past.
Yeah, the guy. What's weird about that scene is the whole fact that, like, before you knew that he was gonna go past these guys, they start like fidgeting, like, oh my god, like somebody's coming towards them to like kill him, but the guy just runs straight past. Just straight past.
I love that. That was another bit that was a bit like that. Hang on. Wait. Let's talk about the mother first.
What?
Let's talk about the mother first.
Yeah. Okay.
So this guy runs all the way back home, and he's running because his wife is in a very bad condition, nearly on the verge of death, and all the children are there, the priest's in the room ready to call the time of death. And as a last-ditch attempt, and it shows how important food is to a family.
Yeah.
And how important the role of mother is.
Yeah. Seems a bit sexist at the time, but...
I mean, it's 1985, and people do what they want. Like, you're going to get offended by this. Like, I don't know.
No, I'm not...
Not you personally. I'm just saying anyone. Like, does these roles exist in history? Like, and we can't do anything about that at this point.
Yeah.
So, I'm not, going to dance around it. The fact that she is a mother to these children and a wife, and the line between mother and wife is blurred. That's what you'll find. Loads of failed marriages fail because the woman would say that the man had mummy issues.
Yeah.
So that line will forever be blurred, and I imagine it's blurred for an actual woman themselves, because you have to define yourself as the child that you are, the daughter of somebody. You have to define yourself as the woman that you are, and you feel that you are, and then if you are inclined to do so, consider yourself a mother. And they're all three different roles. And it's just like being a man and a boy and a father. You have to... They're three different things. And this lady has... The fact that she is the mother and the wife, you can tell it's like the glue to the family.
Yeah.
You can tell that it plays such a huge role. And the fact...
Just because of what he says, it's just straight away, you're like,
he says,
holy shit.
Well, he says, go and make dinner.
Yeah.
And she goes and does it, and it's horrible. The way her neck was like, she was like hunched over, like cutting the onions.
Do it. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? This is like...
But then it's nice, because the kids get all the bowls ready, and they sit down, and she starts serving up, and there's this one moment where she looks at her family enjoying the food, and she smiles, and then she dies.
Yeah.
And the dad, it's a typical response to a death, straight up tears, and the dad shouts at the children, finish the bowl. It's your mother's last meal. Eat it while it's warm. And again, that's just another nail in the coffin for how important food is, and the respect that goes around it, the kind of, and the rituals that surround food. They bring you together. It's a mad topic to think about, because food...
You never think about food as much anymore as these people obviously.
Well, the whole thing about finishing the bowl, you know, that I know from my own mother that she is
Yeah.
incredibly conscious of if I finished the plate, you know, and if I enjoyed it, and she'll want to know. And it's not just, was it good? Like, what was good about it? And, you know, that there's a...
I do that so much. My mom would always ask me, how was it? And I'm like, yeah, it was all right. All the time.
It's like, nah, we want to know. And that shines through in this film. There's something to do with food and love. Because you can taste, it doesn't matter what, really, to me, what the dish is. If it's cooked with love, I'll eat it straight up. And it's like I say with YouTube videos, as long as the as long as the person is passionate about what they're talking about, they can talk about anything. I watch people talk about World War I ration packs, but they're talking about it with such a zest that I'm fascinated. So it's the same with food. I do genuinely believe, really, as long as you're not trying to kill me or poison me, that if you have done it with purpose, respect, and love, then I'm probably going to taste that. You know, it's probably going to come off that way. And, you know, in wrapping this up, the last scene, to me, is the icing on the cake. Because it says it all. That is like the closest connection to all of those things that I just spoke about, like motherhood, comfort, being catered for, would be the baby sucking on the teat of the woman.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty...
It's blunt and it's abstract, but it serves its purpose. It will make people laugh. It will make
crazy
people.
Ending.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Crazy ending.
Like you know, if you were like a young filmmaker making that, that's a pretty good way to end a film. Like you'd have them with raised eyebrows at the end of the film, which is what, you know, what do you want as a filmmaker? Do you want people to be like, that was a nice ending, didn't shock me or surprise me, and like not remember it? Like, you'll remember that ending. I'll remember that ending.
I mean,
I'll fucking make sure you won't forget it, mate. Don't you worry.
Then I won't forget it if you're saying that. But if you never mention it again, I probably will. Not gonna lie, because although it was strange, it's not like the strangest ending I've seen.
Well,
so
I never said it was the
craziest film I've seen. I can tell you that so far. So
then you'll probably remember the ending. I'm not like completely wrong in that you may remember the ending of that film.
Yeah, but the ending compared to like the whole film isn't as weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will remember her running around this guy while he's in a bike, and he's like, "Oh, why am I doing this?" Then the businessman comes back. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up earlier. When the businessmen all walked past, I remember paying more attention. I saw the businessman coming.
Yeah.
And I was like watching them more than what was...
Yeah, well, I didn't even look at it that much, but I knew for a fact I was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to say something?
In like old Tom and Jerry cartoons, something I remember me and my sister picked up on, because we used to watch a lot of them when we were younger. If there's like a hammer or a broom in the background of the scene that Tom's going to hit Jerry with, it's animated differently to everything else.
Same with games.
Yeah, probably the same with games. There'll be like a light around it, or like it would just be lighted differently because it's a usable object.
There would be like especially if you like needed to go to a secret area and there was a wall.
The wall will look different. That's classic Sonic. Yeah. Just a little, it's like a little wink. Like, go on, try it.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, so that is the same sort of feeling. You pay attention to the whole of this film because it could literally go off in any direction.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And then...
You definitely have to see it a second time.
Well, we've not...
everything.
There's a narrative we've not even spoken about, really, and that is like the guy from the beginning. you see him in the movie theater,
I know.
and he's like berating people for eating crisps and ruffling packages in the audience. Then you see him eating an oyster.
Wait. What makes it so good, like that scene so good, is that that's the start. And that's how, like, every cinema is at the beginning. They're always telling you, don't eat.
Well, you get that, like,
or like
in the adverts.
Yeah. So, like, you're basically, the first 10 minutes, you're watching an advert for the film that you're about to watch.
But
then you get into the film, and the film is telling a story in a book.
But he's
There's so many different, like...
Again, everything he says in that first scene pertains to respect.
Yeah.
It's like, we're about to consume something, and when I consume this thing, I don't like these things happening, which is very much in line with, like, the rest of the film and its attitude to food. But then this guy fascinates me because he crops up a few times in the film, and you never really find out who he is, other than, like, I suppose the quasi narrator of the whole thing. But it's a very abstract narration. He's like the guide. He's like the orchestrator of the whole thing, purely because you see him at the beginning and you know that he's the watcher.
Yeah.
So when he shows up, you know that he's separate to the rest of the story, sort of thing. So you see him. You don't learn this until the end of this specific scene, but there is a group of girls that are collecting oysters.
That's not the second scene.
There's another scene with this guy as well.
Yeah, before that.
Okay.
Yeah, where they're making fetish love.
Oh, is that him too?
Yeah.
Is that him with the food fetish?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
He's the guy with the food fetish, yeah.
So you've got him as the food fetishes as well. You've got him eating oysters on the beach. And then you've got him at the end.
There's so many more.
So many more.
Yeah, there's about 3 more that you've missed.
Hit me up. What's he doing?
What is it? See, I'm forgetting a little bit here. What are you doing?
Just moving a guitar, man. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Should I just wait for you then?
No. I'm still hearing what this man in the white suit does in this scene that I forgot. But you can't even remember.
No, I can't. I don't even know why. Because he's also, like, at a restaurant beforehand, and he's also what else did he do?
Well,
he did 2 other things, but I can't remember what they are.
Either way, it just swings home how much this film requires a second viewing. But by the end of the film,
there's so much crazy things going on that it's hard to, like, pinpoint everything about
all the narratives.
Yeah.
Because something I was thinking about for the whole film is this a linear film? Has time flowed as it should for the whole film?
I mean, I feel like, like you said, each scene pertains into, like,
its own
bit of
time. But then I don't know if it does. It seems to all flow as it should. Do you know what?
Does that make it?
I can't think. Yeah, that would make it a linear film.
Yeah.
I can't think of a point apart from the beginning where we don't. This is what I'm saying. This guy, the food fetish guy, the guy at the cinema, and the guy at the end seems separate. He's like an alien to everyone else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
His storyline is the only one that is, like, definitively separate from everything else. Tampopo, all the other scenes that are like,
the dentist, the mother.
They all tie into Tampopo's thing, even if they're just like pedestrians. And
then
technically, his last scene does do that, but he's getting shot
by an unknown person.
So that's what it's still like a weird. There's still a weirdness to
That's what I'm saying. Like,
to his presence.
These scenes are like
he's a genuine enigma, and what he was saying at the end. I need to think. What was he saying at the end to the girl?
He was saying, "Have I told you?"
Oh yeah. So yeah. He was talking about catching wild boars in the winter and how they can only dig up yams to eat. So if you hunt them and kill them and cook their intestines, you will have yam sausage.
You put them straight onto a fire.
Yeah.
Yam sausages. And I'm like,
but
as
then,
you're dying, these are your last words.
What did he then say? What were his actual last words?
I wish
I could have eaten it with you.
Yeah.
So again, ties into that connection to how eating with somebody and how important the respect is surrounding food and the ritual of eating on your own and with others. It like really nailed home the whole point of the film. Mm-hmm. So I think I got the point of the film, but tying all the little pieces and strings together is the real joy of watching Tampopo. That's what I'd say. It
was a crazy motherfucking film.
I'm glad you...
I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I'm
because
glad.
Not only is food one of my...
Dear to your heart.
Yeah, it's very dear to my heart. This is also a...
I feel like it hit your sensibility a lot of the time. You know how you...
Japanese film or Chinese film?
I think this is Japanese.
Japanese?
Yeah.
Well, I'm really into the whole Chinese and Japanese culture. So, again, that's another plus for me. Because I do like the way that they have their own little rituals. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what I was saying. There's a whole element of respect and discipline that is absent in our culture.
Are those your closing thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. My closing thoughts are I need to watch that fucking film again. And I would...
I feel like we both need to.
Yeah, maybe, I quite like the idea of... There's a few podcasters and YouTubers do this. They'll get like 500 episodes in and then they'll start going back and giving a relook to things they spoke about in earlier episodes because so much time has passed that their views changed.
Yeah, and what we can do is we won't look at our old podcasts.
See how we feel about it. Yeah, we'll just dive straight in.
See how we feel about it on the second viewing, and then like
it'll be interesting to compare the two.
Yeah, so like we can rewatch it and rewatch the podcast we did, and then sort of like put it into the video.
But we've got to get some more under our belt before we think about doing that.
Yeah.
So, and this is number 28.
28.
Closing up.
That's right.
Any closing thoughts, Martin? Wise words for the people.
I need to eat ramen.
Ramen noodles.
No, just ramen.
Noodles.
No, not noodles. Just noodles, bro. I want to go to Japan and eat something like that. I feel like it would be one of the best experiences of my life.
Keep dreaming, sweet cheeks. Thank you so much for listening to It's Not That Deep, bro.
Much.
We will be back next week for episode 29.
Hit us up.
Listen to Martin.
All the usual social medias. We got Instagram, we got YouTube, we got Spotify, Apple Music. We even got a website, mipltd.org.
If
you want the YouTube, MIPLTD.
You can search Ølund. Don't just search Martin because you'll get like Martin Luther King speeches. But you can search Martin DeVerge and Ølund and you'll get it. But MIPLTD, that's the easiest way to find us.
If you've got any comments on the film, if you've already watched it and you want to share your thoughts with us, please leave them in the comment section below or wherever it is, to be honest.
Let's leave these good people, Martin. We've outstayed our welcome.
It's like we're at their house.
We are. We're in their ears, man. We need to get out their heads.
Fair enough. Peace.
Until next time.